Assalamu alaikum. Konnichiwa. Welcome to my podcast. My name is Zahra and I am a Japanese reverted Muslim. In this podcast, I talk about my journey to Islam and life with Islam. In the previous episode, I talked about the conflict with my mom and a trip to Malaysia. Today, I'm going to talk about what stopped me from becoming a Muslim. When I started learning about Islam, I was a university student. Then time passed and I became a teacher in a public school. It's hard to point out what exactly touched my heart, but I can say I felt just right. The more I learned about Islam, the happier I felt. I believed in Allah, Quran, and the Prophet ﷺ. Although I was getting engaged to a Muslim man I met in Japan, I thought this was not the only reason to convert. I thought even if I ignored the factor of marriage to a Muslim man, or God forbid, if this engagement didn't work out, I still wanted Islam to be my way of life. I started to live in an apartment by myself, so I could live the way I wanted without disturbing my family. But the thing is, still, I couldn't make my mind to actually convert. I had this in my mind. Even if I become a Muslim, I cannot be a good Muslim because of my work. Let me explain why. As a public school teacher, you cannot even express your political belief, so showing a religious belief is of course a big taboo. That made me think, in the school I cannot tell I'm a Muslim. I cannot wear a hijab because it represents Islam. My thought was in the negative spiral. It continues. I cannot pray because I barely have break time in school. I cannot eat halal because teachers are supposed to have the same school lunch with students, and school lunch is a part of health education. The same goes for fasting in Ramadan. I have to teach music, which you're supposed to avoid from the Islamic point of view. When I have a speech on the stage, first I have to bow deeply to the Japanese national flag. In a nutshell, I was like, how can I be a teacher and a Muslim? I was very confused. I guess many Japanese people are earnest and serious-minded. Like when you make a commitment, you want to do things right. And I was being a little bit like a perfectionist. Because when I became a Muslim, I wanted to be a good Muslim. I needed good suggestions. So what I did was to find Islamic websites that looked trustworthy and authentic and send them emails. My questions went like this. Quote, which is better? 1. To convert under the situation where I cannot practice some duties of Islam, like praying on time and wearing hijab. Or 2. To wait for the time of conversion until the situation to be ready for me to practice Islam properly. Unquote. I stated the situation in the school and then again asked this at the end. Quote, I'm planning to change my jobs in a few years, so I might be able to practice Islam without restrictions at work. However, I'm still not sure which should be better, to convert soon but cannot become a good Muslim, or later and become a good Muslim, inshallah. Unquote. Actually, this email reminds me of my inner struggles back then. I got multiple replies from those knowledgeable people. They kindly gave their advice regarding my concerns and gave me these reminders such as, no matter where a Muslim lives, there always will be some hurdles. If one keeps waiting for an ideal situation to accept Islam, then such an ideal situation may never come. Dying as a non-Muslim is not like dying as a Muslim sinner. Quote from Quran chapter 65 verse 2 and 3. And whoever is mindful of Allah, He will grant them a way out and will provide for them in ways unimagined. Eventually, I felt ready to trust Allah and jump into the new chapter of my life. That ends today's episode. I think the next one is going to be the final episode in this series of my journey to Islam. I will talk about how I became a Muslim finally. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will inshallah post some related pictures on Instagram and Twitter as always. Have a great day, guys. ありがとうございました。アッサラムアレイクム。